Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the meeting of September the 2nd. Hope you can hear me through the mask all right. We'll all get through this, I'm sure, one way or another. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6:34. I believe we have an invocation from Pastor Dave Dick. Is that correct?
Pastor Dave, are you on the line? I don't believe we have an invocation for tonight.
Is there anybody here that would like to give the invocation?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Please bow your heads. Get this going. There we go. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this evening, Lord. Thank you that we can come together. And with everything that's going on, Lord, we have important decisions to make. And we're so blessed to be part of a community that allows us to work together, allows us to come together. Just lay your hand over this council, Lord, as we make decisions. Lay your hand over this community. And lay your hand over our entire country as we're going through so much. Thank you for all that we do, and let us be reminded of everything that you do for us. And in your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Member Councilmember Smith. As long as you're standing, would you mind leading us in the flag salute?
I'll do that as well. Please put your
Thank
hand
you.
over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bonner?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo? Here. Councilmember Green?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Mayor Aaron
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, do you have anything to report out of closed session?
Mr. Mayor, we have nothing to report at a closed session today.
Thank you very much. Are there any changes, Mr. City Manager, to the agenda?
No changes.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion and a second to
I
approve
approve the agenda.
Second.
agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I believe the next item is a ceremonial matter with the presentation by the city clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to wish a happy birthday to Councilmember Bonner and also to yourself. Councilmember Bonner celebrated his birthday on August 8th, and our mayor here celebrated his birthday on August 21st. So on behalf of staff, we just wanted to say happy birthday. We hope you both had a lovely day, and we have just a few little things here for you guys.
Well, thank you so very much.
You.
Do we have to share those?
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Oh, boy, that looked great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next item of business is we have a proclamation, which I'm told that I am welcome to sit here and read in its entirety. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. Whereas on September 11th, 2001, the American people endured with courage and heroism the worst terrorist attack on the United States soil in the nation's history, as thousands of citizens tragically lost their lives. And whereas, in response to this tragedy, firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians, physicians, nurses, military personnel, and other first responders immediately and without concern for their own well-being rose to service in a heroic attempt to protect the lives of those at risk, consequently saving thousands. And whereas community organizations and family members of 9/11 victims began observing the anniversary of September 11th as a charitable service day in honor of the memory of those who were lost and those who united in response to the tragedy, including first responders and volunteers. And whereas the Edward M. Kennedy Service America Act, approved by Congress, and enacted into law on April 21st, 2009, requested September 11th to be observed and recognized as an annual National Day of Service and Remembrance. And whereas participating in service and remembrance activities on September 11th is a positive and respectful way to remember the lives of those lost, pay tribute to those who rose in service, and honor those who continue to serve our county today, including veterans, military members, and their families, and first responders. And whereas on September 11th, 2020, on the days leading up to this day, citizens of the city of Canyon Lake are asked to remember the lives that were lost, honor the heroic actions taken by our first responders, and thank the members of our military for their continued service and sacrifice. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California proclaims September 11th a day of service and remembrance in the City of Canyon Lake, and calls upon its residents to honor the lives of those lost. Regardless of world events, Canyon Lakers will never forget. Dated this second day of September, 2020. And this is signed by all the council members. So I thank you for the opportunity for reading this. And I understand that somebody is going to be calling in on this subject.
Yes, so I believe we have Mr. Brian Bach on the line.
Are you there, Brian?
Well, I must say this is the first. I'm in a car on a call, cheering up, listening to what I just heard. Thank you.
Well, you're more than welcome, and because of your help, along with so many other committee members, you've made this whole event a little possible, and I'm sure that, am I to go on telling them about this,
Sure.
or would you like to?
No, I believe Brian has maybe some information.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought that he had stopped there. Brian, I'm sorry. Please.
Oh, not at all. I will just make it brief and start with thanking each and every one of you, Mayor, all of you. It would be hard to mention each, but the generosity that we've seen, we've raised thousands of dollars. We've had shirts made and from, little kids to, our seniors, everyone's wearing them and very excited about what we're doing here. A little bit about why and how, and I'll just be really brief. August 13th, thereabout, I saw and some others saw that New York decided first short time that they were going to cancel the tribute. I grew up in New York. I worked in the 2 World Trade Center on the 96th floor at one point in my life. How in the world anyone could think that for a moment, regardless of whatever circumstance, to cancel that tribute of light when they light the world, basically, New York, but the entire sky, in blue to commemorate what we lost. How that could happen, it couldn't have even imagined it in my life. But bottom line is, it was. But I also knew that our city, not quite as big as New York, but perhaps maybe more organized and more able to get things together, we've done things with grassroots before, but the miracles of even, Facebook and friends and family, we put together something special. And in the span of just under 3 weeks, we have almost 700 Facebook family, friends, members, only from Canyon Lake, really. As of tonight, we have a few other people involved. I can tell you that our county sheriff, Chad Bianco, will be present with his family. I can tell you that the fire department will be present. I can tell you that State Senator Melendez and County Supervisor Jeffries send their regrets, but they will prepare video drop-ins. We're working on everybody. We're going to go as high as we can. If we can get to the president, we would. If you know anybody, tell us. But bottom line is, I've just got off the phone with TV Media, which should be in attendance. We have everything from obviously coverage in our local papers and on line. Bottom line is, we're doing something special. Why? Because Canyon Lake can and never will forget. Frankly, no one in America, no one in the world should ever. It brought us together. Unfortunately, now is the time when people really need to get together, and this is something that we're going to do. One small step in Canyon Lake, but the Canyon Lake will be lit blue like something you've never seen before. We'll be having giant skylights, and frankly, every other house should be blue, and some red for firefighters as well. But the commemorative is to commemorate what happened on 9/11, the World Trade Center, and Washington, Pennsylvania, and frankly, the world. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this honor. And I just literally, you've brought me to tears. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you so much, Brian, and perhaps you neglected to tell the audience that at 9:11 p.m. on 9/11, they were going to
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, go ahead, please, you tell it. I've already told the story once.
Oh, no, you do it, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thanks to the POA and the general manager, Eric, he has provided the parking lot at the lodge for us to be able to set up these spotlight, or these huge spotlights to light up into the sky. We're asking, of course, as you already mentioned, all of the residents to light their blue lights. And as far as I've been asked a couple of times now, and I think it's worthwhile repeating, you can turn those blue lights on right now. There's nothing to prevent that, and they can continue on past the day of observance. So it'll be just wonderful to see the community having as many blue lights as we possibly can. So thank you to your committee, Brian, and to our Mayor Pro Tem, Casey Castile. I know she's been working very hard on this as well. I think
I'm wearing my shirt.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, she's wearing her shirt. And everybody will be wearing them pretty soon when I think that they're available now, correct?
Yeah. It would be hard for me to mention everybody, but we do have a standing, we was, in the span of just some days, a committee of about a dozen people. I can't, if you look on Facebook, you'll see the names. We'll post them with the proclamation. I thank every one of you. We all come from different lives, but we all come together in this truly positive memorial tribute. Thank you very much for this honor.
Well, thank you again, Brian. And with that, I guess we're going to move to the front of the dais here to have a picture taken.
Yes, if I can ask all the council members to please stand here in front of the dais, and we would like to take a picture of the council with the proclamation.
Are we keeping our masks on? For the picture.
Just right in front of me.
One, two, three. Do a couple more. One, two, three.
For our group.
I think the next order of business, we're going to have a report from EVMWD by Director Darcy Burke.
Mayor Aaron Kranz, it's Darcy.
Good evening.
Um, Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, residents, and guests. I'm going to try and make this really brief. That is a hard act to follow, though, by the way. A great proclamation, and I will be including it in my newsletter next week because I know not everybody's on Facebook or social media, so hopefully we can reach those that may not have heard about it next week as well. I also want to compliment the city on your great new website. So much easier to use, aesthetically pleasing, loads quickly, so thank you for that. It makes life for the rest of us much better. So I know that took a lot of time and effort from staff, so I just wanted to acknowledge it, and if people in the audience haven't visited it yet, I highly encourage them to do so. My only real item this evening, Council, is on Facebook and social media, you may have seen a horse that was actually in the lake. He was in the North Ski area, and the picture was posted. And that's an area that the POA has little control over. And there was a lot of chatter on social media that other people wanted to take their horses in or their dogs. And I just wanted to clarify why that's not the best approach to maybe cooling off your animals. If you recall, in the early 2000s, the state of California legislature passed a package of bills that eliminated public or body contact from drinking water reservoirs. Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District had a carve-out in that piece of legislation that said that Canyon Lake would be exempt from that piece of legislation, and that body contact, including water skiing, could still occur in Canyon Lake. But there was a caveat with that we had to agree to abide by the Safe Drinking Water Act as it related to other animal contact, and we also had to comply with the California Health and Safety Code. And there's two specific areas that restrict livestock near or in water that it will either be influenced and could impact a drinking water reservoir or is a drinking water reservoir. So although there might not be a lot of monitoring or enforcement in that area all the time, I think we as citizens need to do our share and remind people that that is not allowed. We don't want to risk the opportunity that we have to have body contact and enjoy our lake and have our permit pulled because we're not abiding by the rules. So although it may not seem like it was a really big thing, it actually is a really big thing. It is a state and federal offense. So I would just encourage people that if you see someone, to remind them that those animals are not allowed in the lake or near the edge of the lake, and then I think we should be in good shape. We have also taken an approach in the next few months to come up with other ways besides our RARE program to help out those residents that have been impacted by COVID financially. So the way the rules are set up on how we can manage our revenue generation from rates are very specific. We can't use our rate money we collect to offset rates from anybody else. So we have to use non-rate paying revenue to do that. So we're exploring what type of assistance we may be able to offer to residents that are in a difficult situation or small business owners. So hopefully we'll have that more fleshed out next month, and I can bring that back to council to share with. We had a presentation this morning and gave staff direction to follow up. So we understand how difficult it is right now, and utility bills are also difficult to meet, but we also don't want to get people so far behind that there's no possible way they can catch up. So I'm happy to take any questions the council may have this evening. I appreciate the opportunity as always.
Darcy, in regards to that horse in the lake, was that actually in the main lake or was that in the jump lagoon?
It's in the jump lagoon, but because the jump lagoon feeds directly into the lake, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I understand that. I just wanted to be specific as to where
Yeah,
it
it
took
was not in
place.
the main lake.
Okay, thank you. Council have any questions?
Yes, I have one, Mayor.
Certainly.
Darcy, how's our water quality testing going in the lake?
So I'm going to talk about PFAS for a minute then, Councilman Green.
Yes.
So one of the things that you may recall is we shut off the water treatment plant and didn't operate it this season. but the testing still continues. So one of the mandates from the state was that there was a certain protocol of how often we needed to test, which was much more frequent. We've also undertaken a study that we know where the PFAS came from, and it came from March Air Force Base. They did a study and said it couldn't possibly come from us, so it must be on you. But if you follow the trail back to where the PFAS actually entered into the system, it appears that it was fire foam that then washed down the creek and then directly into Canyon Lake. And over a period of time, that amount built up. These are man-made chemicals. It's not like they're going to degrade. They have a expected life of, somebody told me the other day, of infinity. So it's an accumulative process. We are currently studying 44 locations through that watershed that would lead to Canyon Lake, as well as planning on studying the sediment within the lake to tell the story of how long that contaminant has entered the lake and where that probably happened. It would depend, obviously, the concentration that we discover, how we might go about approaching financial compensation from the Air Force. We didn't put that in the lake. Residents didn't put it in the lake, so we feel it's really unfair to have the ratepayer have to pay for that. So that's where we are with water quality. It's something that obviously we're diligent about, and we're following state protocol as well as this additional study that we've undertaken.
Okay, thank
Does that
you.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening,
You're welcome.
Director. How are you?
Very well.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
You're well aware that obviously due to the fact that everyone's staying at home, most people because of COVID, I'm sure you've noticed some of the spike in electricity and obviously water as well. How's Canyon Lake doing overall with water usage? I know probably a couple months ago, you made the announcement on how we need to make sure we're trying to do the best we can with our runoff, watering our lawns and whatnot. How's our progress report doing?
I hate to tell you we've made no progress. We are
Okay.
still the least efficient of all divisions at Elsinore Valley. I also think, though, that that's outdoor water use, because when we can kind of track what's outdoor and indoor. Basically, people set their sprinkler timers, and they never go back and readjust them.
Right.
Found out that's not everybody, but that's most people. So you can kind of tell the spikes. The interesting part is our commercial industrial has tailored off, and the increased residential use has offset that. But really, it's outdoor water use, and we are the least efficient, that's the best way I can say, the most wasteful of all divisions. And I really think it's one, it's been hot,
Right.
and two, people just don't pay attention. So one of the things I'd like people to start thinking about is when you turn your clocks back, when we fall back, and you change your smoke detector batteries, you could change your sprinkler timers or shut them off, because we're going to be approaching the wet season and hopefully cooler weather, and we don't need to irrigate as much.
Absolutely.
When we improve and we're no longer the least performing division, I will be the first one to report that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for? No. Darcy, thank you so much for the update. We always appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
I believe that we have the property owner's president, Mr. Poland, calling in. Are you there, Chris?
I'm here, Mayor Aaron Krantz. Thank you very much for the opportunity to provide an update. This year's COA board is very busy with a variety of projects and contract renewals as we continue to navigate the COVID-19 waters with you. We're very pleased to be able to cooperate with you on the 9/11 commemoration. And I'd like to say that we're doing everything we can to deal with the situation that Darcy just mentioned related to the horse. I'd like to report that we have submitted for plan, check, and permit the drawings for the creation of a new park, a Sierra Park North, which includes a pump track as its signature element. This is located on vacant property off of Vacation Drive. The first phase will include the needed grading and retaining walls as well as the pump track. Subsequent phases will include the amenities needed to complete a full-service park. We've been working on this project for a number of years and look forward to its completion for the benefit of our youth. Like everyone else, of course, we hope to receive the city's review comments soon. We're also in the process of advertising our community patrol contract and have completed a draft RFP that is a continuation of pretty much the same scope of work with some refinements. It was presented at a workshop last week, and we received valuable input from our members, along with comments and suggestions related to community patrol. We had a number of public safety related issues raised that we're again looking into. These will sound familiar to you as they relate to the egress points into the mobile estates and the estates, as well as the call for more public safety officers within our gates. We expect to draw conclusions on these suggestions in a couple of months and look forward to working with the city where appropriate. In the meantime, we'd like to obtain any statistical data you have about the type and volume of public safety violations that occur within our community on a monthly basis, as well as how we rate compared to other cities in California. I'm also pleased to report that we have reviewed and appreciate the Ordinance 200 that you'll be finalizing tonight related to short-term rentals. As you're aware, it is consistent with our rules. It will help us with our enforcement, and we intend to cooperate with you as much as we can. You're also introducing for the first reading tonight Ordinance 201 related to peddling and soliciting in the city of Canyon Lake. Our general rule is very clear: no door-to-door soliciting is permitted, and of course is consistent with the proposed ordinance. We support the ordinance and believe it will assist us in our enforcement, though we'd like to see some clarification in section 5.16.030 related to signs. We'd like the ordinance to be clear that it is sufficient to post no solicitation signs a short distance inside of each of our 3 gates that will apply to the entire community. We believe that individual signs should not be required in each residence and community space to be eligible for city enforcement. Thanks again for the opportunity to address you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Chris. Council have any questions? Well, thank you so very much, and we appreciate your cooperation all the time.
Thank you.
We're moving on to public safety. I believe the sheriff has something he'd like to present to us.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members, and city staff. I'm just giving the public safety report for the month. It's covering the month of July. So during the month of July, Canyon Lake Police Department generated 600 calls for service, which is up 122 calls from June, which is probably from July 4th weekend. During the month of July 2020, there were 10 Part 1 crimes reported in the city of Canyon Lake, and that's our UCR reporting. And those crimes are 1 burglary, 4 larceny or thefts, 2 motor vehicle thefts, and then we also, during the month of July, our officers made 2 public intoxication arrests, wrote 9 traffic parking citations, made 2 DUI arrests, and took 4 traffic collision reports. This does not include the reports that are written and taken over the counter, which I believe there was about 4 or 5 of those. So in total, there's probably 8 or 9 traffic reports. Overall, there were 9 arrests made in the city of Canyon Lake. And those arrests are DUIs and a couple of domestic related arrests and public intoxication. Any questions?
I just want one comment to make.
Yes.
Ever since the change from Paris to Lake Elsinore, at least I know myself, and I was speaking with a couple of my colleagues, phenomenal job. You guys are really killing it. We're seeing you guys regularly. Your patrols are unbelievable. I think we probably have the best representation from the Sheriff's Department we've had, at least that I've seen in years. So I just want to say thank you so
That's
much.
good to hear.
You guys are killing it. It really means a lot to us. So
Same echo. Your presence is more in the field, and I think that's the benefit that we see. Just your presence in the community and in the neighborhoods show that you're out there, and it's noticeable. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to echo that. I also had a question. I received a phone call yesterday from a community member. On our Facebook pages in the community, people post about stolen cars and people wandering around that looks suspicious. Do you have any hints or tips for the public? Should they be calling to report suspicious activity? Should they be see something, say
No,
something?
Definitely. If they see something, they need to get a good description of the person.
Okay.
Because usually we have a deputy right there close by. We actually had a stolen vehicle a couple days ago. And within 10 minutes, with the help of the person, the victim from the stolen vehicle, we were able to put out the information and caught up to the car within 10 minutes in Lake Elsinore. And got him into custody. No damage to the vehicle and got everything back in one piece.
Okay.
Luckily, she had left her cell phone inside the car and we were able to track it.
So I think that some of the community members feel like they might be bugging the police if they call for just weird people on their street.
No,
so
not
it's
at all.
okay, right?
Not at all. It's not that busy to where we can't respond to everything that's going on. So, yeah, by all means, if you see anything suspicious, anybody that's out walking around that's not supposed to be there, in a tight community like this, you know who's supposed to be there and who's not supposed to be there. Put out the information, give us a good description, and we'll respond quickly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I would just like to say that I agree with what I've heard from the council. I usually get to hear complaints. I've heard nothing but compliments lately, so we certainly appreciate what you're doing.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
It is. Thank you very much. The fire chief.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and staff. Tonight, I'd like to introduce our brand-new unit chief and Riverside County Fire Chief that was appointed recently. And he's here to give a quick spiel on himself and put a face to the name, and then I'll get on with my report.
Well, he's going to have to take that mask off if he's going to put a face to it.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City
Hey,
Council.
thank you.
City Manager, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Let you see my mug, and I was appointed August the 4th as the fire chief for Riverside County Fire Department, and I was just love to come and see everybody and meet everybody and see all the terrific people here of Canyon Lake. So thank you very much for this moment in time. I want to give some cards to Mr. Mann so he can pass them out if he wants.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome, Chief. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
All right, so for the City of Canyon Lake, we're actually going to cover both months, the month of July and August, for our fire reporting. We had 76 incidents in the City of Canyon Lake for the month of July. There we go. So out of those incidents in the month of July, 5 of them were false alarms. We had 1 hazmat, 30 medical emergencies, 3 miscellaneous calls, 1 residential fire, 1 ringing alarm, 3 traffic collisions, and 2 wildland fires, for a total of 76 calls. We haven't really had much of an increase. Obviously, COVID has kept a lot of people from partaking in a lot of activities, so even though the hot months have picked up, we haven't seen a huge increase in just general calls. We have seen some increases in fire activity and some of those things. With Engine 60, for its responses, it had 92 responses for the month of July. And in those responses, sorry about this, with a couple of months I have a little bit of mixed commodities here. So out of those 92 responses, 37 were in Canyon Lake, 16 were in the city of Lake Elsinore, 3 in the city of Menifee, 1 in the city of Moreno Valley, 4 in the city of Paris, and 1 in the city of Wildemar, and 32 calls in the county area. There was no significant incidents or in the month of July. and there was one over 10-minute response in the month, and that was due to engine 60 being committed to another emergency, and the next additional closest resource responded within 12 minutes of that call, and that was for a medical emergency. For the month of August, there was 73 responses in the city of Menifee, or sorry about that, city of Canyon Lake. 6 false alarms, 51 medical emergencies, 1 other type fire, 1 miscellaneous call, 5 public service assists, 2 residential fires, 3 rescues, 2 standbys, and 2 traffic collisions. There was, for engine 60, in that same period of August, it responded to 82 calls during that time period. "43 in the city of Canyon Lake, 11 in the city of Lake Elsinore, 5 in the city of Menifee, 2 in the city of Paris, 1 in the city of Wildemar, and 23 in the county area. And during that same period, there was 2 significant incidents that occurred. One was a structure fire in Canyon Lake, and the other one was a person trapped in an elevator within the city limits, in which units responded. There was no injuries in either part. For the over 10-minute responses for the month of August, one was in the city of Canyon Lake in Engine 94's or Station 94's response area. Engine 94 was committed to an incident. The next closest resource responded, and that was within 15 minutes. There was a debris fire that had an excessive response time. That wasn't actually the case. The case was it was in the BLM land of some palm tree fronds and some additional debris left out there and burned. They accessed through many gates, so they were in the area within about 7 minutes. But to actually make access and extinguish the fire, that was a little longer of an extended period. And then the additional one, once again, the engine was there within 4 minutes, but due to electronic connectivity issues, the electronic tracking was not working on the engine when they went on scene. They actually went on scene within 4 minutes. So we truly only had 1 call, and that was due to that resource being already committed to another incident during that period. Is there any questions?
On your, is that a CAD response or is it an RMS response when you?
It uses part of the CAD data, so it's a combination.
And can you manually go back and set that properly, or is it just they're going to have a longer response time?
They'll have a longer response time. What they'll end up doing is you'll have, when they pull up the history of the call, they can see some of the transitions because it's not in there, but you can see when they cancel the ambulance and make those changes, so they're doing the notifying. Because we went to a voiceless system. And so they don't automatically, it's all push button.
Okay.
Unless you have to do an actual report of conditions for the incident of its type, which is basically a description of what you see when you, upon arrival.
Size up.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. I believe it's time for you to come up, Gino. Our senior code enforcement officer.
So it's just been business as usual, but we did note, and we'll start noting from now on, the fire inspections that were completed and required. So at this point for August, we've completed 80. We still have 42 left, and 124 residential inspections with 130 that still need to be performed. And we're working on getting out the notice to those that haven't registered their properties.
Good. I got a question for you. For first of all, thank you so much on all the input, especially when it comes to the residential rental program. I know my tenant said it was a very easy process, actually really good, by the way. Do we have an idea of what our estimate number was going to be in regards to what we think the applicant should be in regards to that program? How many homes? I think it was around 700. Is that right, Mr. City Manager?
That sounds approximately right. I believe the number, the percentage that we were given of rental properties in the community was somewhere around 18% of the homes within Canyon Lake were rentals.
So what are we doing? You said we've completed 120, was it?
These are of the properties that have already been registered.
Correct. How many do we finish?
124 with
And you have 100 and how many left?
130.
So that's a total of what, 250 or so that is applied?
That's correct.
So out of a potential 700 that we think can apply?
Yes.
So what's our plan of attack to let the other 500 know of the program, how to get involved, and how do we go about doing that, or what are we doing?
So we'll be sending a follow-up notice to the property owners without the homeowner's exemption, which basically states this is the house that they live in as their primary residence. Some of those will be sending in a affidavit that states it's not for rent, it's a secondary vacation home, and that there are no tenants occupying it.
Right.
We do have some cases, obviously, that we're already working because they're Airbnb locations and they're prohibited. However, because of the extended time and the amount of time and how long we're allowing, because we've been waiting to watch the coronavirus numbers go down or stabilize, some people are uncomfortable. That's the reason that some of the inspections haven't already been done, because they're being pushed back based on the age or circumstances for the tenants. So trying to take in and accommodate every different need of everybody, you can't really be super flexible with this group over here and then start going after those that haven't complied. So we are on top of it. We're going to stay on top of it. We have the list that was provided by the Riverside County Tax Assessor's Office with the exemption. So we know where to go from here. We're just waiting for the appropriate time.
So I guess my further question is that list that was provided by the assessor's office, did that equal approximately 700 properties?
Honestly, I didn't really look at it in that detail and track which ones weren't and which ones were, but I can do that this week and get back to you tomorrow.
If you don't mind, that would be great.
Not a
I'd appreciate that. I know that we've reached out to the POA and to try to help facilitate, because they were a big push of this program. I know that Tom did some work on it too, and I know that the POA was, happy that we were moving forward with it. I just want to make sure that we make it extremely accessible for anyone and everyone, and we're not trying to scare people away, because you guys have done a phenomenal job. And I think the praise report from the community has actually been more positive than negative, at least from what I'm hearing.
Positive approach.
Yeah, very much so. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the hard work.
You're very welcome.
Gina, I have a question. If you give some more of your report.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I will, at the end of your report, I'll have a question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to throw you off.
No, I'm good.
I know.
I gave my highlights.
I know you're good. On the fire inspection program, okay, on the fire code, are we inspecting all pieces of the fire code, including sprinkler, our 13 systems that are being put in, or did we leave that up to the building department? Or is that a piece that still stayed with the Fire Prevention Bureau for CAL FIRE?
So any new fire sprinkler systems would be inspected by the building inspector as required under the building code. So Riverside County, CAL FIRE, they actually approve the plans. Our building inspectors make sure that the systems were installed according to the approved plans
Okay.
from the fire department. However, when we go in, we're making sure that the stickers are signed and certified
Okay.
within the appropriate periods, making sure that they're tested and that they're in working order.
Well, I happen to notice there's a new building coming close to completion on Canyon Lake Drive South. Large home on the water. And there was a fire prevention vehicle there for quite a lengthy time. Now, maybe they own the place, I don't know, but I thought they must be doing an inspection, but awful long time on site. So I just wanted to ask.
Okay.
Thanks.
I can look into that for you, though, if you'd like.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you for the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Guess we're moving on to public comments.
Any person wishing to address the city council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the city, whether or not it appears on this agenda, is asked to submit their comment electronically by sending an email to publiccomment@canyonlakeca.gov. Please note that I will be accepting email comments during this meeting in real time. If you're commenting on an item on the consent calendar or on items not on the agenda, I will read the emailed submissions into the record during the public comments portion of the agenda. If you're commenting on a business item or public hearing, I will read the emailed submissions into the record at the time that particular item is scheduled on the agenda. During this period of social distancing, electronically submitted comments should be no more than 250 words and include the person's name and agenda item number. We do have one comment. This comment is from Elissa DeCasperis. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. It says, "Dear leaders, as a committee member of the 9/11 Tribute in Light, Canyon Lake, I would like to thank you for your support and the proclamation you are presenting to our community tonight. My 9/11 story. I lived in New York from birth until 3.5 years ago when I moved 3,000 miles away to Canyon Lake. I lived in Brooklyn for 30 years and then Staten Island for 20 years. I worked in Lower Manhattan for most of my career. I was 2 blocks away in 1993 when the first underground bombing happened. On September 10th, 2001, I was in a car accident. It kept me home on 9/11. On that beautiful Tuesday morning, I was still asleep. I received a phone call asking where a friend of mine worked. I replied, the World Trade Center. He said, Elissa, put on the TV. I turned on the television and saw a plane in the tower. I literally dropped to my knees. I was confused. I said, where is air traffic control? I saw it again and for a moment thought it was a repeat. He said, Elissa, we're being attacked. This is terrorism. That's a second plane. I told him to come home. He said he had to wait to make sure it was safe to cross the Verrazano Bridge to Staten Island. We expected more hits to New York. I rushed out to pick up my kids from school, one in preschool, the other in elementary school. I went to the supermarket feeling robotic, thinking if they hit our bridges, there would be no deliveries to Staten Island. I walked through very methodically, thinking about what to buy in case we didn't have access to food in the coming days. From the supermarket parking lot, I saw the black smoke coming from the towers. Later in the day, I started making calls to find out where my friends were, where my coworkers were, calls until midnight. My ex-husband was getting calls from friends who ran across the Brooklyn Bridge from Manhattan asking if he would pick them up to bring them home. He did, wherever they were. In the end, I lost friends who didn't make it out. I have friends who worked on rescue, recovery, and the bucket brigade of removing remains from ground zero. They were told the air quality was safe. They worked tirelessly. Some are now sick with diseases that are directly related to the work they did. When it was announced that New York City decided to cancel the ceremonial reading of the names in Tribute in Light, I was infuriated. When I saw electricians posting that they had been considered essential workers and had not stopped work through the beginning of COVID, I was more upset. They volunteered to set up the lights using the same PPE and rules that they had been following despite New York City claiming they couldn't set up the lights due to COVID. Brian Bach, another New York to Canyon Lake transplant from the Bronx, started a Facebook page specifically for Canyon Lake residents. Soon thereafter, due to the mounting pressure from around the county, New York City decided they would go forward with the lights. Canyon Lake is coming together to light the lake blue to show that we will never forget. Our Facebook page has over 650 members. We welcome you to join us at 9:11 p.m. on Friday, 9/11, as we show our support for the victims, survivors, family, and friends of all affected by the tragic acts of September 11th. The mission statement of the Canyon Lake September 11th Memorial Tribute pledges to remember and honor the innocent men, women, and children from all over the world who perished at the hands of terrorists in the shocking attacks of September 11, 2001, in New York, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Appreciate the fortitude of the families of those who died, those who survived, the courage of those who risked their lives to save others, and the strength of those who worked tirelessly on rescue, recovery, and cleanup for months after the attacks. Recognize those who have developed and are living with illnesses and those who have passed away since 9/11 due to their work during those months. We will light the lake in blue to show our support for the victims, survivors, family, and friends of all affected by the tragic acts of 9/11. Like New York City, Canyon Lake is a melting pot of people from all over the world. We pledge to never forget. Thank you again for the support that the City of Canyon Lake has provided to our community. Sincerely, Alyssa DeCasperis.
That certainly was very nice, and it only validates what takes place here in Canyon Lake and this great community that we have. People come together for so many various occasions, and this one certainly is one of the most important ones that we can pay tribute to, and we hope that between now and next week, everybody has purchased a blue light so that the whole community will be blue. And certainly thank you so much for that letter. It was
Very, very touching.
must have been a little tragic to go through all that, I'm sure.
Mayor, on a personal note, 9/11 obviously is a big part of me, and I lost a very good friend there, Chief Ray Downey. He was one of the initial wave. He was part of USAR, and he died on the first tower coming down. Also, a couple other friends that were part of that team, and so it does have a personal effect to me.
Well, I'm sure indirectly all of us have something that, besides just the tragedy, that we'll remember about that particular date. So thank you once again for sending that letter in, and I continue to encourage everybody to observe that very special day. And again, thanks to Mayor Pro Tem Castillo for being part of the original organization and for sporting that nice shirt. Are there any items that need to be pulled from the consent calendar?
Can I pull number 8, please?
Any other? No. Then I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar.
I make the motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve that, which I believe is with the exception of item 8. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I believe this calls for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Bonner?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Aaron-Krantz?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Would you like to tell us something about item 8?
Absolutely. I wanted to take the time a little bit to just talk about, well, I want to kind of pick, our city manager's brain and Anna, because I know how important this particular item has been for the city. I think we forget we do so much here, and we spend a lot of time on making things efficient. And this is going to do so much good for not only city staff, but just the entire operation of how we do business moving forward. I want to just take the time to talk about how we are finally digitalizing the city, and that is a huge, huge undertaking that this staff has taken on. And I just want to say thank you for the hard work that you've done in doing that, especially with Mike and Anna and Tyler. You guys have just done so much work staying on Saturdays and coming in and having to get boxes of documents to go through and having to get them shredded. There's been so much work done on this, and you guys deserve a huge round of applause for all the hard work that you're doing. This is really putting the city in the right direction. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. Good job.
Thank you.
I move number 8 then.
I second that.
Well, we have a motion and a second to approve item number 8 on the consent calendar. I guess we need another vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonner?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Aaronkrantz?
Aye.
Motion carried to approve item 8.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9, business items. Having a presentation by the staff.
I think it's.
Yes, is Deputy Fire Marshal Steve Swarthout joining us on the phone for this presentation? Oh,
He's here.
hello, sir. Hey, all right.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, staff, Steve Swarthout, Riverside County Fire Department, Office of the Fire Marshal.
Good.
We're here tonight to present to you as a requirement from Senate Bill 1205 for us to discuss with you and give you the status of the inspections we do on state mandated inspections. The state mandated inspections are E-occupancies, schools. There are R1 occupancies, which is hotels and motels, and R2 occupancies, which are multifamily occupancies within the city. I'm here to report that we did inspected all the occupancies that are required, and we had 100% completion of those inspections.
In the, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
In the motel,
Yes.
okay, did the guys look at all the smokes in all the rooms?
Yeah, we're still working with the roadway Inn. They
Okay.
had some corrections. We've been out there a couple times.
Okay.
We're still working with them
Okay.
and to get them compliant.
Did they have any, were all their exits clear, or did they have any blocked?
Yeah, they had yes and yes.
Yes and yes,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. And we had, like I said, we've been working with them. We were just out again not too long ago, and we'll be back out again here shortly.
That is a non-sprinkled building, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
That
Thank
is
you.
correct.
thank you.
Built before it was required.
Do they have a certain amount of time to comply?
Yes, well, we try to work with them. This is kind of the second year we've been into this program. They improved from last year, and they are still have some issues to work through. And so what we try to do is work with them. We can go, we are allowed to go after the third reinspection. We can start doing an enforcement piece. But when we see progress, especially with an older facility like this and new into this, we like to give them a little more time. And they are making progress. Every time we go out there, they've done a little bit better.
How many assisted livings do we have? 6 or less?
That I don't know how many you have in the city.
You guys
assisted
inspect them
living.
manually though, right?
Correct.
Because they got to have a state clearance to get their
Correct.
license.
Yeah, and then those go through what's called an 850 form. We go out, we can receive those 850s, and we go out and license them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions, council? Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Are there any public comments on this item?
No public comments.
Okay, thank you. And a motion and a second, please, to approve the resolution.
Make a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10. This is the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 201. And Mr. City Manager is going to have the presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Some weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, within the gates, there was an incident where a company had a number of sales representatives in the community soliciting fairly aggressively, which is in violation of POA rules. It became rather a large topic in the community. A lot of people were very upset about it. Mayor Pro Tem Casey Castillo reached out to staff and asked us to take a look and see if there's anything the city might be able to do to be helpful here. So I reached out to our city attorney, and we put something together here that we think could be useful to the POA and to the community. Since the city attorney drafted this ordinance, I think I'll let him make the bulk of this presentation. Stephen?
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mayor, members of the City Council. Ordinance number 201 before you is actually a pretty common ordinance that most communities have. It's an anti-soliciting and peddling ordinance. Now, obviously, there are some First Amendment implications when we're talking about regulating that kind of conduct. And so what most cities do in order to make sure that their ordinance is constitutional is they make it against the law to peddle or solicit to a private residence that has prominently displayed a no peddling or no soliciting sign, so as to not to disturb the residents who have clearly indicated that they do not want to be disturbed by this type of activity. If you turn to page 198 and we look at 516030, we've included language in here that in addition to any residence, dwelling, mobile home park, or apartment complex, you can also have a property owners association that posts signs saying no soliciting and no peddling. And the intent of that language is to allow the property owners association here in Canyon Lake, if it is the will of that property owners association to post signs saying no soliciting or no peddling, they could post those on the entrances to the property owners association, and it would therefore be unlawful for any person to peddle or solicit within the gates. I did hear the concern of the president of the POA. It sounds like they want some more lawyering to occur, so I've done it while we were waiting here. And I would recommend that to address that concern, we add the following language to the end of subdivision A, subdivision B, and subdivision C. So it would say, premises is painted, affixed, or exposed to public view on the door of such a residence or dwelling, or the entrance to such property owners association, mobile home park, or apartment complex. It seems like they wanted some specific language that where the sign needed to be posted was the entrance to the property owners association. And since we're addressing that concern, we might as well make it clear for each of the types of residences that we've delineated.
Okay.
And that'd be appropriate for us to make that amendment here at the first reading. We can still go to second reading and adoption at the next city council meeting, if that was the will of the council. Other than that, we also added hours for peddling and soliciting. So assuming that there's any property left in the city of Canyon Lake that doesn't have a sign that says no soliciting or peddling out in front of it, there will be hours restricting such activities. They cannot occur between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. of the following day, so that people aren't being disturbed at night. And then lastly, you will see our new violation language that you will recognize from the short-term rental ordinance. This is going to be our standard violation language going forward in the city that gives code enforcement, the city attorney's office, maximum flexibility on how we can enforce this so that we're not hamstrung unnecessarily. If there are any other questions about the ordinance, please let me know. But again, I want to say this is a fairly common type of ordinance. I was actually surprised we didn't have one on the books already.
I have one question. On 516.020, said small c, it says the board, the tax board of the state of California and the IRS, whether it's for charitable, religious, political, or nonprofit, are exempt from this requirement. Why?
So this is standard language in here. Again, we have First Amendment considerations that we want to keep in mind. So the second one that you see listed there is any government agency. I don't know what a government agency would be soliciting, but if a government agency did want to, that would make sense. In terms of the nonprofits that are recognized by the IRS, it's a standard exemption that most cities will put in there to ensure that we're not unnecessarily infringing on charitable organizations, religious organizations, or political organizations. we still want those people to be able to exercise those rights. Mostly, we're aiming this at commercial transactions. That's where the complaints were coming in, and that's where the majority of the nuisance comes from.
Okay, that doesn't make sense to me, but.
So like census can come and knock on your door.
Census can come and knock on your door.
Girl Scouts can.
Girl Scouts can come and knock on your door. A person who's circulating a petition to put something on the ballot can come to your door. Someone who's a political person for office that's coming can come and knock on your door. Those are the kinds of activities that are most protected by the First Amendment, and those, notwithstanding the Girl Scouts. And those are the type of activities that we want to make sure are protected so that our ordinance is constitutional.
So how do you see actually enforcing this?
I mean, the typical method for enforcement is complaint-driven in most communities. And usually it's going to be like we saw a couple weeks ago. We're going to get complaints that there are a number of solicitors roaming throughout the city. My anticipation is that our code enforcement now officers would then go and talk to those people and tell them that it's unlawful to be soliciting here. They might get a fine. They might be asked to simply leave, and they might go. But that would be up to the enforcement officer.
So if little Betsy, who's selling Girl Scout cookies, lives in Lake Elsinore and she wants to come into the community and sell her cookies, folks at the gate would not stop her.
Well, it's not incumbent upon the POA to enforce our ordinances. So the POA's ordinances may be more strict than this ordinance. And so I don't want to, be giving anything that might be construed as advice to them. Right. I would say that so long as the Girl Scouts of America are a nonprofit registered with the state and the IRS, which I believe they are, they would be permitted to go and sell Girl Scout cookies. Yes. But, for example, someone who's coming through and trying to sell you solar panels would be prohibited from doing so.
I think maybe what you're asking too is, would this ordinance mean that the POA could not enforce the rules of who can come in the gates? No, this wouldn't affect that at all.
No, the POA is perfectly within their rights to have rules and regulations that are more strict than the ordinances passed by the city.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
I do have a comment. I just want to say thank you for acting on this so quickly. The community was very outspoken with the desire to have something on the books, anything, please hurry, kind of was the tone that I received. I found that Gina Dixon was very helpful when I reached out to her. Also spoke with the mayor to ask about the history of this, and I'm just very grateful that we made a request, and here it is on the very next agenda, so thank you.
Thank you. Any public comments on this item?
No comments.
Thank you. Well, apparently we need a roll call vote here for a motion and a second to.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have the motion and the second. If you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bonner.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Mayor Aaronkranz.
Aye.
Motion carried to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 201. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California, adding Chapter 5.16 regarding peddling and soliciting in the City of Canyon Lake.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to item 11. And Mr. Borges is going to have a presentation.
Barely breathe.
You might want to check the thermostats too. It's getting warm in here.
Is it really? I turned
is.
it down at pretty low.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Okay.
A lot of
Good
hot
evening.
air here.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tonight, City staff is recommending City Council adopt Resolution 2020-41, authorizing the reallocation of previously approved Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG, fund balances for 80-day improvement projects at the city's new building located at 31542 Railroad Canyon Road. Back in May and October of 2019, staff brought forward a staff report asking for council to reallocate previously balance left over from CDBG that hadn't been used. Council approved at both those council meetings to approve the adoption to reallocate those monies towards a CDBG project that had to do with City Hall ADA improvements. But recently, as you know, within the last few months, we purchased the building located at 31542 here in the town center, and it was brought forward to me that we move forward with the ADA accessibility report to kind of get an idea of the type of improvements we were going to be looking at. We did have the report. You have the report in front of you, and it does outline quite a few things. There are some things that need immediate attention to the building, and that's to the exterior of the building, which includes the sidewalk and the doorways and the restrooms. Those are kind of the more immediate ADA needs for the building. Also, it was something that the county EDA also had mentioned too as well, that needed more of the immediate attention. So what we're asking tonight is for council to reallocate the reallocation that we did before for the ADA here at City Hall towards a new building to take care of these particular items that have been identified for us to do. So that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Questions from the staff?
Was
I
there-
will say that.
I do have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
In the prelim of the purchase of the property, was this identified as a fix, a need that, on the value of the property?
Yes, we got a tremendous deal on this property, and one of the reasons is that there is a great deal of deferred maintenance that came with this property. And we had a number of studies done. We had the roof inspected. We had a mold inspection. We had the drainage looked at, and the sidewalk, and asbestos. So we just had a number of inspections done so that we would know what we were getting into. And the primary urgent challenges over there have to do with a very poor condition of the roof, a sidewalk that slopes towards the building, so when it rains, water flows towards and into the building, drainage issues, a number of ADA compliance issues, including with the restrooms and doorways. We're hoping to be able to move quickly enough that the roof and sidewalk and drainage issues can be fixed before our next large rain event. So we do have the CDBG money that the council had approved to be used at City Hall, and we thought, well, we have so much work to do over this new building. If we can move these funds over to that new building, it'll help us, and it will relieve pressure on the general fund to get those projects done.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say that Mayor Pro Tem Castillo and I met Budget Finance on this, and hats off to staff on finding creative solutions to fix our problems. So I thought this was a very creative way to take on some of those costs, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job at that, so thank you.
Thank you.
It certainly was a very thorough job on finding all these items. There are things on there that, hey, as much being a general contractor, I learned some things that I wasn't aware of that needed to be fixed. So it was a fantastic report, and certainly I hope that we can move forward with it. Any public comments?
No comments.
Well, we're getting off easy tonight. Well, in that case, once again, I'll need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
And we need a roll call vote for this.
Councilmember Bonner?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Aaron-Krantz?
Aye.
Motion carried to approve resolution number 2020-41.
Thank you. Moving on to item 12. This is a discussion of the status of city-sponsored events in the upcoming future.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be taking this one. Before you tonight is staff's recommendation for discussion of the status of city-sponsored events, which were scheduled for 2020. As you all know, the City Council had previously approved 3 major events scheduled for the end of this year. The Veterans Day event was scheduled for Wednesday, November 11th. The State of the City / 30th Anniversary Gala was scheduled for Tuesday, December 1st, and the Winter Wonderland was scheduled for Saturday, December 5th. Considering the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the high rates of infection in Riverside County, staff recommends discussion of the status of those events. Regarding the Veterans Day event, staff recommends amending the event to allow the community to properly honor those who have served our nation in the armed forces while at the same time discouraging a large gathering. The Veterans Day Committee has developed a plan to instead have a golf cart parade, place flags on lawns, and to significantly enhance the flyover by the Warbirds. All of this with no central gathering location. Regarding the State of the City / 30th Anniversary Gala and the Winter Wonderland, staff believes it to be impossible to hold these events without creating a large gathering of people. At this time, we're recommending that these events be canceled for 2020, but have every intention to be able to proceed with them in 2021. Staff further recommends that a portion of the funds approved for these canceled events be redirected to improvements in Veterans Memorial Park, to include upgraded lighting and electrical, a larger artificial tree more conducive to the Winter Wonderland event or other events that may include a tree lighting ceremony, a cement foundation to support a larger tree, and an expanded area for the Veteran Brick Program. The approved budget for the State of the City / 30th Anniversary event is $20,000, and the approved budget for the Winter Wonderland event is $30,000. While it is not anticipated that the entire $50,000 will be required for the contemplated improvements, staff requests that the council give the city manager discretion to reallocate these funds not to exceed $50,000 based on the proposals that are received.
Thank you. Council have any questions?
I want to say that it's so sad to cancel the Winter Wonderland event. The community absolutely just was blown away last year, and the plans that we had for this year were going to even be bigger and better. I know Family Matters is really sad as well. I want to commend the Veterans Day Committee. I know that change is not easy, but I think the members of that committee rose to the occasion, and I'm excited about our amended Veterans Day celebration. I think it's going to be maybe even better, definitely different, but we're rolling with it. So I think that's going to be great. Sad about our gala and our State of the City, but again, that's something that can't be helped. And I, at this point, agree with the staff's recommendations.
I'd just like to add, staff is really disappointed about canceling these events as well. We had lots of discussions with the city manager, and we really tried to hold off on this item as long as we could. We were hoping that things would change. We were hoping that, one way or another, we can try to modify the events. But unfortunately, it's just, we had such a great turnout last year with the Winter Wonderland, and we expected so much more this year. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be possible. But I'd also like to thank our Mayor Pro Tem Castillo. I think she did a phenomenal job as the chair of the Veterans Day Committee with thinking outside the box and presenting these different ideas to us and how to still go forward with the event. I think she just did a phenomenal job, and she doesn't give herself enough credit, but she really did an amazing job presenting some of this stuff to the committee, and the committee just was so responsive to it, and they're a great group of people. So I'm really happy to be a part of that committee, and thank you very much for your guidance and your leadership.
Good job. I have one, comment on it. I mean, it is sad because we have so many great things happening. This December will be 30 years as a city. And if I know anything about Canyon Lakers, they're proud to be Canyon Lakers. And 30 years as an established city is in my mind, a big milestone. Have we thought of doing anything, whether it's, putting a flag out that says happy 30 years or something to identify that this city's made it. We've gone through ups and downs, and here we are standing strong and doing, might I add, very well. Has there been any communication with staff on an idea for that?
Nothing specific. We've talked about the possibility of coming up with something. We've also talked about not canceling the event altogether, but having an anniversary event next year. We'll call it, 30th anniversary plus one or something, so we can still have a big celebration and honor all of the contributions of residents over the past 30 years and really celebrate appropriately. But it's a good point. I think that we should do something to recognize the 30 years this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think, our Mayor Pro Tem did a outside of the box idea of, coming up with something, because we cannot not do something for veterans. I mean, it's so important. I mean, I can't stand here and be okay with that. We have to do something, and I feel passionate about this community too, and all that's happened over the last 30 years to stay a community. And I think that should be recognized too at some capacity, because it's not going to be 30 years next year. It's going to be 31, and it's cute. 30 plus 1 is cute. But I think we should definitely try to do something, because we're proud community members, and the city's gone through a lot. So that's just my take on it.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? No. I assume, once again, there are not any public comments.
No public comments.
Getting used to that now, thank you.
I have one more question. If we are going to reallocate money to Veterans Memorial Park, do we have kind of an idea of what we're able to spend? I mean, I think that's a nice 30th birthday present to the community if we spend some money there.
Yeah, well, we've kind of informally priced out artificial trees of a size that would be appropriate for public events. We think we're probably in the $20,000 to $25,000 range there. There's electrical work that really needs to be done in the Veterans Memorial Park area. You may recall last year at the Winter Wonderland event, the lights that were plugged in over there kept going out. There's a lot of issues over there. So we have not yet gotten to the point of getting bids for the electrical work, or for creating a pad for a tree, or for expanding the area for Veterans Bricks. But it's our expectation that we would not have to get too close to that full 50,000. I think we can certainly do it for under that, hopefully significantly under that.
Well, I'm sure that any directions to the staff, we've pretty well covered that. We were understanding that we're not going to be able to do the things that we've done in the past, but that's only on a temporary basis. They'll be put off, and perhaps it'll be bigger and better in the following year. But we're certainly all sorry that this has to take place, but this is just one of a few things that many people are experiencing the loss of. So we're resilient, and we'll be back bigger and stronger with a different type of presentation. Hopefully this doesn't last too much longer.
Sure.
So thank you for that. And I don't think there's any action needed on that.
Mayor, I don't have it listed on here. I have it just as direction, but I think we should go ahead and take a motion and second to approve staff's recommendation. That would give the city manager the approval to use those funds. And then let's go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
I move it.
Hey, that's fine. Thank you for that, Anna. We have a motion,
I move it.
Second?
and we have a second. So we're going to have a roll call vote on this as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Bonner?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Aaron-Krantz?
Aye.
Motion carried to approve item number 12.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 13. I guess we're going to have an update on our internship program.
Yes, we are. Good evening, council members and the rest of the city watching live. I'm happy to announce today that the city has officially established an internship program this year. This was one of the big goals set by the city council earlier this year, and we're very happy to be offering an internship program that will provide interns with some valuable work experience, job training, and other things like that. So we are going to be having right now for our first class 4 interns in total. 3 of them will be serving
with myself and the administration staff in the administration office, and we will have one serving with our code enforcement department down at City Hall, assisting them with code enforcement duties, especially with a lot of the new inspections that need to be taking place this year. These interns will be with us for the next 10 to 12 weeks. They'll be working approximately 10 to 12 hours per week, and they'll be working on a variety of tasks assisting us with the administration of the city, and again as well with code enforcement. And they will also be working on a curriculum in order to get them more familiarized with municipal government, because a lot of folks, especially with the political climate now, know a lot about their state and national government, but learning about municipal government is just as important, so we want to make sure that they walk away with that knowledge as well. In addition to that, they're going to be working with myself and our future WRCOG fellow on establishing a outreach program to residents, to where we will be visiting residents in the community, letting them know about the importance of signing up for our Code Red emergency alert system. That way, in the event of any emergencies, we are able to easily reach out to the public and inform them of any emergency items that they need to follow in case of fires, earthquakes, or any other type of emergency. And then in addition to that, get them connected with our social media pages, because in the age of social media, that is the best way and the quickest way to get information out. And we look forward to expanding that to make sure that we reach as many residents as possible. So I did also want to take some time to let the interns introduce themselves. They're just going to, introduce themselves, talk about their majors and the schools they're attending. So they can just come on up and just say their names, the school they're attending, and why they're excited to be here in Canyon Lake.
I thought I noticed some new young faces out there tonight.
They're just interested in council meetings.
Hey, please step up to the microphone.
Hello, everybody, mayor, council members, city officials. My name is Ryan King. I just want to thank you guys all for the opportunity to present myself and introduce myself to you all. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Laverne with my Bachelor's of Science in Criminology. I'm pursuing my Master's in Public Administration. I'm waiting on acceptance from a few schools. I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm really excited to learn about the structure, organization, and the inner workings of municipal government. With that being said, in these unprecedented times, I want to just extend my condolences to everything that's going on within the city, all the unfortunate events I've heard. I give my condolences to you guys, but I'm very looking forward to meeting all of you on an interpersonal level and getting to see how you guys work on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and welcome to our fair city.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jasmine. I go to UCR. I am my fourth year attending there. I want to pursue a career in local government, and I'm really excited to have the hands-on experience in this city.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mia Comparin, and I go to UC Santa Barbara, and I'm going to be a junior this year, and I'm majoring in sociology, and I want to pursue a career in law.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Good luck.
welcome.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Dakota Neiman. I'm a political science major at the University of California, Los Angeles, and I'm going on for my senior year right now, so almost done, then off into the real world. Just really thankful for this opportunity to be here. I'm really glad this internship program is taking place, and I'm really looking forward to the skills and other knowledge that I can learn from this experience, and thank you for that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Which one's going to work with code enforcement?
Jasmine.
Okay.
All right.
Very cool.
And then in terms of any costs from the program, this is an unpaid internship, so there is no large chunk of the general fund that will be taken out, but there is some cost associated with printing materials, getting email and computer accounts set up for them, and other things like that. Does anyone have any questions regarding the internship program?
They get work experience, intern experience from their university they're going to? Do they get credit?
That is the option, but I don't believe any have opted for that.
Okay.
But if they do want to opt for that at a later time, that's kind of what the curriculum is for,
Okay.
is to show the universities an academic curriculum as part of this.
Perfect.
And so going in the future, we do look forward to having students obtain academic credit for this as well.
Great. Good incentive.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. We're excited for all of these young people to participate, and perhaps we'll learn something from you.
I just want to say I'm excited to cross off a council goal. I know this was a big project for Councilmember Smith, so this is exciting.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations and welcome to Canyon Lake. For me, this was a huge goal to bring to Canyon Lake because I got my start in government, in politics, exactly doing what you're doing. And when I got my master's in public administration, I was interning for a state legislator, and I saw the importance of what an internship program does for young people, what it helps you prepare for in the future. So welcome aboard, and I'm so excited you're here, and we're going to have fun. You're going to learn a lot. And if you get sick of our city manager or Tyler, just let me know, and we'll take care of it for you guys.
And additionally, as one part of their program,
You notice he didn't include the mayor in that, though.
one portion of the program, they are required to attend a council meeting outside of this one, as well as one of the regional meetings that you all attend. So depending on the COVID situation, if in-person meetings do resume, they may be attending those meetings with you as well. So I'll give you all a heads up on that, so you can expect to see them there. But we're really looking forward to having them learn a lot about the county and also here in Canyon Lake as well.
Thank you.
Well, that's great. And Tyler, I'm sure that I know that you did a great job interviewing all these young people, so we appreciate that. Thank you so much for your choices.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the council?
No.
Okay. Any public comments? You knew that was coming, right? Any direction to staff?
Proceed.
Proceed. Onward. Lunch is on me. The first round of lunch on the interns is on me. You just let me know when it is.
Okay.
Done.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much. No other questions? Tyler, thanks for a great job.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no problem. Now I got the next item, so whenever you're ready, Mr. Mayor.
Excuse me, okay. So we're moving on to item 14.
Yes, so item 14 is a discussion of our establishment. We're currently working with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department to establish a Citizens Volunteer Program here in the city. And we're very, very excited about this opportunity. Since switching over to Lake Elsinore Station has been remarked before, they've been very responsive. It's been a great pleasure working with the deputies and the volunteers at the Lake Elsinore Station. They've been great. They're absolutely wonderful down to the station here in the community. And so with this volunteer program, it's going to be expected that these volunteers will be working in a myriad of assignments to be assisting the functions of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, including within their own neighborhoods, correctional facilities, and patrol operations, clerical support, investigations, accounting, computer entry, among others. And these volunteers will not be carrying any weapons or making any arrests. They're going to be serving as a very important eyes and ears in the community, especially the Citizens on Patrol program. That will allow for residents to ensure that there's extra patrols here, while also keeping the cost for the city down. So Citizens on Patrol are going to be able to patrol the community in volunteer cars. They're going to be, I believe, the cars I saw were white Crown Victorias. They have amber lights on the top. So if any members of the community see them, they are community volunteers. You're more than welcome to go up to them, ask questions if you have any concerns. And then if they do see anything suspicious on their patrols, they'll also be reporting those to the Sheriff's Department as well, and then a deputy will be able to respond to those. So it's going to be able to give the city great coverage and also ensure that the city's remaining safe. Because I know there have been recent concerns about crime in the city, and this is one way that the city is going about making sure that we're keeping our residents safe. In addition to that, for our younger residents, ages 14 to 17, we're also going to be working with the Sheriff's Department to establish an Explore program for any interested younger residents in Canyon Lake. And the Explore program is a great opportunity. They receive police-style training. They get trained basically that puts them on a path to a career in law enforcement and the military. Many of these explorers do end up attending college as well, so it's a great way to ensure that they are pursuing higher education. And we're just very excited to give Canyon Lake residents the opportunity to kind of take a step forward in their early years of pursuing these goals and these career aspirations. And so this type of volunteer programs has existed in other areas of the county for years previous, and it's proven very successful, especially the Explorer program. I did also meet with some Explorers. Great group of kids. They all are very professional. They all very much take their positions as Explorers seriously, and they really do have a lot of fun doing it. Right now we're working on a outreach video that we've worked in close conjunction with the Lake Elsinore Station, utilizing volunteers, deputies, and Explorers. And so we're excited to be getting that done in the coming weeks. And as soon as that is finished, we're going to be pushing that out to the community to encourage folks to sign up on the city website and then get them connected with the Lake Elsinore Station. With the fiscal impact of this, there's no immediate fiscal impact at this time. However, if the growth in the city for this program is very successful and robust, we may see that it is necessary to purchase volunteer vehicles, radios, and other equipment for that. So if Canyon Lake residents, before they go on patrol or before they go to an event, instead of driving down to Lake Elsinore Station, they'll be able to pick up those items at City Hall or elsewhere around the city should they be starting a shift. But we don't recommend anything like that at this time. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions you all may have.
Well, thank you for that presentation, Tyler, and I shouldn't say this is not anything new to Canyon Lake. Unfortunately, we had this program going several years ago. We had a couple of black and whites that drove around the community. We had the Explorer program here, but when things got a little tough and our budget continued to be slashed, we had to stop that. But it was very successful then, and that's probably been 10, 12 years ago now that we had that. But we had 2 cards that went around. It said volunteer on the side, but it certainly helped the sheriff's department. And certainly I'm looking forward to that happening here again in this community. So I know it'll be a success. And did council have any other comments besides mine?
I do. I just want to say I'm super excited about this. This is something I've been looking forward to for a long time. A lot of community members have already reached out asking how to become involved. So I'm excited that there will be high participation. Canyon Lake loves our police, so I imagine that this is going to be a nice place to patrol. So grateful for the Lake Elsinore Sheriff Station. So thank you very much for bringing this program back to us.
All right, awesome.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Good job.
Awesome job.
Thank you, Tyler. Good job that you're doing. Thank you so much. Guess what, Hannah?
No comments.
No comments, huh?
No comments.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if there's any direction to staff that needs to be done at this time, but I think we're in good hands and looking forward to this program getting started. So once again, thank you, Mr. City Manager, and to Tyler as well. Okay, moving on to item 15. This is in regards to the League of Cities annual voting participation.
This is the last item on the agenda, so I will keep it short.
Okay.
As you all know, the League of California Cities has their annual conference every year. We're required to, if the city wants to be represented in the business meeting, we're required to select a delegate and up to 2 alternates. The city council needs to appoint those 2. Last year, our delegate was Councilmember Smith, and our alternate was the mayor. So before you tonight is just a discussion. If the council would like to let me know who we're appointing as the delegate and who would like to be an alternate. I'd like to point out that the conference this year is going to be virtual. Unfortunately, because of COVID, everything has been moved to a virtual meeting. So it will be held virtually, and it's scheduled for October 7th through the 9th. The voting portion of this would be held on Friday the 9th.
Council have any questions?
No questions. I think unless someone wants, I would like to see the mayor probably be the voting delegate, and the alternate could be, I mean, that's kind of what we've done in the past.
That's
except-
what we had. Last year, we did it in reverse.
Reverse, but I've been the voting delegate twice, so.
Either way, if the council have any other recommendations?
Who wants to be the alternate?
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Got it. You're signed up. I heard that train coming.
Yep.
Okay, well then, I guess I could probably skip this item and ask if there's any,
Nothing.
Okay. This virtual meeting is getting a whole lot easier.
Virtually, we were here.
So I guess we need a motion and a second to approve us delegates.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint myself and Jeremy Smith as either or voting delegates. I guess I'm the primary one, and Councilman Smith is the alternate.
Correct.
Thank you.
So thank you for volunteering again. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're down to city manager comments.
Well, this shouldn't take more than an hour or two. I'll keep it brief. We talked briefly before about digitizing files. That's going well. It is a massive amount to be digitized. We started with the building department, figuring that was the most critical, and council approved this evening a budget adjustment to continue digitizing building department files. It's incredible, the 30-year history of the city, how many documents just kind of crammed in a corner, and, of course, nothing's been temperature controlled, and it's really been a poor situation. So we're really looking forward to getting this project completed. As Director Burke mentioned earlier, we have launched our new website. We still have a little bit of work to do on it. We're still working on updating some of the text, but the functionality of the site is up and running, and I think if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet, I think you'll agree it is a significant improvement over the previous website design. Also, we're very excited about having obtained a new domain for the city. Previously, we had two separate domains. It was a little confusing. We had cityofcanyonlake.org. That was the URL for the website. But then all of our emails were cityofcanyonlake.com. I'm not sure that either a .org or .com is ideal for a city, and it was especially strange to have a .org and a .com. It got confusing to people. So we obtained a .gov, which I think would make more sense. So we have canyonlakeca.gov now is the official URL for the city. So the website and all of the emails will match. If someone does go to the old website URL or email an old address, those will be redirected to the new address, so we won't miss any emails, or people won't have any trouble finding us. But
Chris, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Is our email addresses going to stay the same, or are they going to change to ca.com?
.gov.
.gov.
Yes, they've all changed over.
They will.
They already have.
Oh, they already have?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So we're excited about that, and then we look forward to finishing off the last details of the website here in the next couple weeks. You may recall that last fall, responding to comments that were made at a city council meeting, the city started looking at whether or not it would make sense to readdress the cannabis issue. Currently, there's a prohibition in Canyon Lake on any commercial cannabis uses. The mayor appointed an ad hoc committee to take a look at it, and we started examining the issue, and we're making some progress, and then COVID-19 hit. and we hit the brakes on that process. Recently, we've started moving forward slowly again. We've been working with consultant HDL to examine whether or not it would make sense to change our existing ordinance, and if so, what would be the best path forward. We're certainly not rushing into anything here. We want to make sure we're studying it thoroughly, but we hope to be able to bring something to the council for discussion on that towards the end of this year. A lot going on with economic development. I won't go into too much this evening. Our consultant, Bill Blankenship, will be here at next month's meeting to give us a thorough update on all the things we've been working on. I will mention, though, that I'm sure you remember we applied for and received SB2 grant funding. And the application specified that we would use those funds to put together a specific plan for the town center to serve as a guide for future development and redevelopment within the town center. Jim Morrissey, the city planner, has been working on this a lot, and I think you'll see, hopefully in October, you will see an agreement with a firm to start working on that specific plan.
Are the SB funds due to our finishing our housing element? Or is that a different piece?
Well, it's a different piece. Yeah, it's not tied to the housing element. The SB2 funds have to be used for projects that at least in part address housing.
Okay.
And so what I think we were contemplating is discussing a specific plan that would include mixed use here in the town center. So something that would enhance the retail, enhance our sales tax base, but then also have some type of residential component to help us with our read-in numbers, but also to provide support for the retail.
Is that the same amount that HCD said that was it 160, 150,000?
Yes.
We would be eligible for based on the size of our city?
Correct.
Is in that coming out of that pot?
Exactly. So we've been awarded $160,000.
Okay.
Now, the specific plan will cost more than the $160,000, so we'll have to kick in some from the general fund on that. So we're estimating it's going to be probably, when all is said and done, closer to $300,000 for the entire specific plan. But we have that, we're spreading that over a couple different fiscal years. So in the budget that was approved for this fiscal year, we have $45,000 allocated, general fund money allocated for this.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Oh, and that is all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go on to committee council reports, starting with Councilmember Bonner.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the RCTC, Riverside County Transportation Commission, had a kind of unexpected surprise this in the last month. We're working with a large more than just Riverside County. We're including San Obispo County, we're including Orange County, we're trying LA County, Riverside, and we're trying to get the trains set up so they could be taken to the Coachella Valley festivals in the spring. And we were well on our way, but the big problem we had is the Union Pacific would not accept the fact that they would, because that's the highest business is their traffic and freight, and they just couldn't adopt to have citizens or customers or passengers on top of the freight trains. Okay, so we couldn't get to a solution. They never said no, but we could never get a solution that would work and be acceptable to our taxpayer. So we've already stepped back and started over again. We're not going to give up. But it's something that's very important, and I'm sure Jeremy's going to be involved with RCTC next year, and that's going to be a very important part of getting Coachella Valley and getting those trains and get people to be able to get the Fiesta Day on in those, I think they're in April and May time of the year. So I just want to, in case you hear or heard about it, read about it, that's what it's all about, okay? The second thing I just want to mention, if you go back Railroad Canyon Road towards Lake Elsinore, you must have seen the interchange that's going on. It's going fast and furious. They're hoping to get it completed by the end of 2021, maybe early 2022. But there's going to be a lot of people that need to really be careful driving through that, because it's going to change almost by the day, okay? And so I encourage all citizens that are going to be going through that interchange to just be careful and keep safe, and safety is number one as you're going through that area. The roundtable is going to be Tuesday, because Monday is Labor Day, so we're going to have it Tuesday at the Country Club, and it'll start at 8 o'clock, and I'm hoping everyone will be able to be there. And I don't know if we decided on economic development, not August, we're going to make it, or September, we're going to make it November, October.
Well, I think we talked about maybe having it in September, maybe having it on Wednesday.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
still,
Mhm.
but if we're going to do that, we need to tell those people
Yes,
tomorrow.
yeah, that's
I
true.
guess.
Right, yeah, no, I need to check with Bill Blankenship to see if he's available to join us Wednesday morning.
Okay, good idea. All right, that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Castillo?
Our next alum application will be October 12th, and I just want to wish everyone a healthy and safe Labor Day.
Thank you. Councilmember Green?
Yeah, COVID-19's been quite active, so everything that we've been involved with has been done via Zoom. I think most of the committees are working on that now. But for RCA, I'm on the executive board, and we've been meeting very frequently because RCA has put a proposal out to two agencies, RCTC and WRCOG, is being a parent to take over our group. We need to finish the plan. We need somebody that is familiar with the environmental issues that we deal with, as well as the Species Act. Is also the funding that we receive from both the state feds and local, and as well as refining how we get the fees from the developers and what we're trying to do to work with the BIA. And because of that, we've had several meetings with both boards, both executive boards. We have decided as an executive board to go to RCTC. Their board has received it, accepted it. They are in the process. It's a 6 week, actually, maybe it's 2 months.
2 months due
process to review both agencies, both documents. We have not a clear idea what we're going to look like. We still will be a board. We still will have the city representation because we need that for some of the legislative things that we work with. We think we can pair with them because we have common goals. We have common needs for consulting and for the legislative support that they have from lobbyists that are in both DC and at the state. So we're moving ahead with that. We wanted to retain our staff because there is going to be some changes going at the county. One of the concerns that our executive board has and our executive leader is we will lose our institutional knowledge of where we came from and where we're going in order for us to finish our plan, which is we're about 3/4 of the way through, so we've got another few more years. But we've got some good things we're working with, the BIA and some other outside groups that have influence not only on the county, but the development of the county and the cost that goes directly back to our developing communities, as well as the fees that support the purchase of land and areas that are used for the habitat. So that's really been busy. Also been working last month with our fire consultant, and our committee met, and we've had very positive meetings, both here with our staff, but also with the county and with the consultants. And so we're moving forward, hopefully, to bring a report back to council in the next month or so. And then no emergency preparedness because of COVID meetings. They've been canceled until this passes and we are allowed to meet again if that's ever. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. August was a dark month for me. I get the privilege of sitting on RTA, and it was dark, but good news is that our ridership is growing. I also serve on SCAG, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's Southern California Association of Governors, and I sit on the Transportation Committee. And I made it a point when I was elected to work hard on all that is transportation, and I'm excited that I got reappointed. So I will be serving on that again this following year. The president reappointed me. When we serve for a community that is in the 80% of commuting, it's so important to pay attention to the different traffic patterns that we have to deal with day in and day out. Interesting enough, RCTC came out with a new statistic showing that the fast track is up to 80% now. So COVID is still very relevant, but our people that are commuting are happening more and more every single day. The roads are starting to get busy again. Those of us that commute in and out of this community to go to work are seeing that. So that is a positive thing in my mind. I'm excited to see that people are starting to get back to work. Things are starting to change a little bit. It's going to be difficult for some of the road projects that we have, but I predict that things are moving along and they're continuing to show. At least that's what the stats are showing. Lastly, I just want to say thank you so much to our staff. It was a day full of chills for me because we are doing so much good stuff here in Canyon Lake, and I wish that we had more public comment. I wish there was more engagement because this is a community that is thriving when it looks at local government. So I just want to say thank you so much to my colleagues on this council for making this job so much fun and making it worthwhile for me to be a part of. And thank you so much to the city staff and all the hard work. And congratulations on the new interns. We are so happy you're here. We hope that you can learn something. And every single one of the people that are up here understands what it's like to be in your shoes and will help you with anything you need. If you need any guidance on anything, letters of recommendations, whatever it might be, but take all you possibly can from your internship because it is so important. Thank you so much. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Well, my turn. I had the pleasure earlier in July, as the Councilmember Smith said, August was a dark month, so I have a little catch-up to do on some of my reports, but had the pleasure of going to the CR&R plant here locally and I know some of you council members have probably been there already to see what a fantastic job they do transforming green waste into fuel. It's an amazing plant. They produce so much fuel that they can't even store it. They don't have enough room to store all the fuel that they produce. They do have the ability to sell to some of their competitors, as well as anybody who would like to purchase it. And they entertained us for city manager and the POA general manager went, and some of the council members, and a few members of the public were invited, and we had a great time and quite impressed. And those tours are available. So I recommend if anybody is interested, contact us, and we probably can arrange for that to happen. Also, I had a Zoom meeting, which most of them were, with our neighboring cities about the importance of the census, and we all got together and talked about what we were doing in order to promote the census and the census takers, and gave them information on how to go about getting jobs if they wanted them as far as taking census, and that went quite well. Also attended the Veterans Day meeting with our Mayor Pro Tem, and really nothing to discuss at this time. We've already talked about what was going to take place. The committee really is a fantastic group, and we were quite pleased with what they did, and I certainly thank you for the great job that you're doing as a chairperson. Everybody came away very happy with, we were a little concerned, but we're still going to have a ceremony, although it's going to be different than it's been in the past, but it's certainly going to be great to recognize our veterans. I had a couple of meetings with the WRCOG by way of Zoom. I'll try not to bore you with too many things. Let me see. Well, one of the great milestones for Western Riverside County was facilitating WRCOG's grant writing program, which resulted in over $33 million being funneled to the sub-region. This was for completing retrofit of over 53,000 streetlights to LED technology and to launching Western Community Energy and all the various efforts in between. So much was accomplished to promote innovation and local control. Also, there was 3 TUMF reimbursement agreements totaling $24,448,697. And for you young people out there that may not know what TUMF is, it is a fee that is charged to the builders for any new construction that goes on. And it's different percentages for residential and retail and what have you. And it's to be used for road improvements, bridges, whatever cities need funds, they apply for it and have to wait their turn. But fortunately, 5 or 6 years ago, we had Railroad Canyon Road all redone thanks to TUMF funds that were supplied to us. And I think it was something like $6 million, I believe, for the road. And that certainly is continuing right now, although construction is a little slower. But some of the projects that money was granted to was Bundy Canyon, Scott Road widening, and phases of the Palomar Road project in the city of Wildemar, and some projects in Moreno Valley. Juan Perez, who's the Director of Transportation and Land Management Agency for the County of Riverside, he provided an update on the reopening process for a variety of Riverside business sectors. And I'm sure that this is probably old news now, but you know that every day it changes as to what is open and what is closed. So I'm not going to read all of those again. But he indicated that the Board of Supervisors will consider a request at its August meeting, which of course took place already, to allocate $10 million in the CARES Act funding to support the all-in-one campaign to fund remote learning through RCOE. I'm going to skip around because I know that some of this stuff is not exactly current. We had a report from the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Judy White. She provided an update on the status of reopening schools per the governor's ordering, and distance learning was mandated in all counties on the state monitoring list. Now, once again, this was from last month's meeting. Even though I said we were dark, we were still Zooming, I guess would be the correct terminology. Also, she noted that the Riverside County School District have served more than 8 million meals to the community during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that was the end of WRCOG, but I also have a economic impact report. And this also was last month, so I'm sorry if these figures are changing, but the unemployment rate peaked in April 2020 at 14.7% in the U.S. However, Riverside County saw it peak at 16% unemployment in May. These figures are seasonally adjusted. The number of employees who lost their job from March to April was roughly 16 million, meaning that the unemployment created in a single month through the government shutdown was higher than the unemployment total during the peak of the Great Depression. COVID fatigue is a new term used to describe the increasing restlessness of the general public in response to restricted economic activity. An interesting fact is that when measuring economic impacts, the cancellation of the Coachella Music Festival is estimated to have an impact of $450 million. These are not fun statistics. Infections are not evenly distributed throughout the county. The two largest cities in the county to have the highest infections, Riverside and Moreno Valley. 3 cities from Coachella Valley, Coachella, Cathedral City, and Palm Desert are smaller in population size but have higher infection rates. 3 cities from southwest Riverside County, Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee have larger population but smaller infection rates. Bureau of Labor Statistics, you have to excuse me, I'm skipping around because I'm trying not to bore you with too many statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics stated in July report that 60% of unemployed persons classified their layoff as temporary. Does that mean I'm supposed to stop? The report concludes that if the virus is not under control, there will be no economic recovery. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm reading. And last but not least, and for you young people that are out there for the first time, you'll have to understand that I do these vector reports. Some are serious and
I didn't think we had Victor. Oh, my, I've been waiting all night.
you see, this is the highlight of the meeting. This is about mosquitoes.
He's serious.
Yeah, yes, nobody takes me seriously though, but I do have to give this report. The ankle biters are a non-indigenous mosquito species, and they are new to Southern California. These bugs have the potential to carry a host of diseases that previously haven't been common to the area. Until now, Southern California has been the rare warm weather region blessed with fairly mellow mosquitoes. I'm not going to read all these things. I always start off thinking I'm going to do this, but I don't. Mosquitoes prefer human blood and bite repeatedly, particularly right after sunrise. They also don't need much water. An overturned soda cap or the merest hint of a puddle can do the trick to breed, making them difficult to control. Some eggs even have been found clinging to the dry surface of a container after all water has been removed, a level of biological tenacity that presents a new challenge for vector control agencies. And it says here, can you get COVID-19 from mosquitoes? Mosquito experts say the increased attention on public health is an excellent reminder that there are many ways for residents to protect themselves from mosquito-transmitted diseases. According to the World Health Organization, to date there is no data to suggest that COVID-19 is spread by mosquitoes. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the main way that COVID-19 spreads is from person to person. While COVID-19 is not transmitted by mosquitoes, they can transmit several other diseases, such as the West Nile virus. There is no human vaccine for this disease, which can cause debilitating cases of meningitis, encephalitis, and even death. Most of you know how to prevent mosquito bites, so I'm not going to read that. I don't think, and I don't know that this would be of any interest, that I've saved this article to give to the Equestrian Center at the POA, but this is mosquito control tips for horse owners. And right. Mosquitoes are more than just an annoyance. They're a disease threat. So safeguard your animals and you. And as I say, I will not, I usually write all this stuff down and think I'm going to have a good time reporting it. And then I kind of back off a little bit. One last report. This week, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors approved $4 million for the Pathways to Employment program, which helps unemployed residents get work training and mentoring. The program provides adult participants with paid stipends and other supportive service to ensure success. Pathways to Employment will recruit 500 adults who have been impacted by COVID-19. Participants will receive $20 per hour, training and mentoring, and supportive services, including transportation, clothing, counseling, and technological assistance. Easy for me to say. The program will launch in September and will be administered by the Community Action Partnership. And for more information, I have these things here. And also on September 8th, some county facilities will reopen for limited in-person services. These in-person services will vary by department, so community members are strongly encouraged to call ahead or visit the department's website to find out if service they need can be done virtually. And also there's child care available for essential workers. And I don't think you probably want to hear all the rest of this. It's quite lengthy, but I always leave it here in my book, and I've told to our city clerk that it's available if anybody wants it. Welcome to take it or make copies of it, or I get it back the next month anyhow. And with that, I believe that's the end of my report. I thank you for your indulgence. The next regular meeting will be Wednesday, October the 7th, 5 p.m. for closed session, 6:30 p.m. for open session. As Mayor Pro Tem wished everybody, certainly I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, holiday. Stay safe and look forward to seeing you all next week. And with that, our meeting is adjourned at 8:47. Thank you so very much.